it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Our life as best friends who are more like sisters.
Ah, yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's increasingly clear to me that I don't get paid enough to do this show with the two of you. In fact, the fact that I have to pay to do this show with the two of you is the joke's on me.
Listen, it's
joke's on me.
It's Ben.
I can't. It's incredible to me. The two of you and your energy is something that is really unmatched. And we're going to start today's show with having empathy for Erin. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to have some empathy for Erin. Thank you, Scott. So we'll come in today, right? I'm prepared to be here on time, right? Which I then text message back to both of you.
Yeah, you got to start back at the
very
7
beginning
a.m. this morning.
Okay, so Scott says in a last minute hurry, Erin, is there anything I had to prep for today's episodes? Now, did I almost write? Yeah.
Well,
just to send them down
just shit tons of stuff.
I
Here's some videos.
I looked back at texts from all the different areas I get texted from you.
Yeah.
And I looked back and I didn't see anything. The last things I saw were from the previous episode.
Yep.
So I was pretty confident that the answer was going to be no.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But he's a double checker.
He's a double checker.
And was
Appreciate
I going to
that.
use that as an opportunity to really F with him? Yeah, but I didn't.
I appreciate you not.
Especially because this morning he posted on his Facebook.
I don't. We're going to talk about that too. Well, that's actually going to be therapy session this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also appreciated that he wrote, do I have to have anything prepared for this session?
Yeah, for the session.
Oh, well,
Because he called it a session.
That's a double meaning because you guys call it a session, but I call them sessions too because they're recording sessions.
Oh, you do call? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, now that was
not
a
as
letdown.
But for you,
that's not as fun anymore.
For you, you call them sessions. That's a different thing.
Yeah, because it is
it's
therapy. Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
So.
Disclaimer, it's not therapy.
Right. Erin and I don't have phone calls. We have sessions.
It's not really therapy. Let's just be really clear. There is no therapeutic advice offered on this show. We cannot be held accountable for any of
Zero.
the
I disagree. I get a lot of good therapeutic advice.
That's actually what a lot of people
And I
say.
won't
They
sue
do.
you
Listen,
for it.
yes,
I appreciate
a
that.
lot of people are like, I feel like it's my weekly therapy. I'm like, number one, you guys haven't ever been to therapy because this is not what we do, nor is this what the therapist does.
I mean, everybody would sign up.
But this is the best form of therapy if you're getting something out of it. So that's good.
It's great.
Okay, so Scott's like, did I need to do anything for the session? And I say, just so we're clear, at first I say no, because I'm trying to be nice.
My favorite is he texts both of us like I have a clue.
And you're the one who's in charge of this stuff, too, just so we're clear. I don't know how many times, Scott, how many times have I said to you, he's contacted me directly, and I've said, I don't know. Rebecca's in charge of scheduling.
That's right.
I don't know. Rebecca's the one who schedules the
So
guests.
I always use that thread between three of us.
I know.
That group text.
Smart, because...
Unless it's something specifically for Erin that I think you
Right.
don't need to know.
Right. Or we've got something in the works behind the scenes.
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
also
something
happens.
embarrassing.
Or we're-
Most likely embarrassing.
Also happens
Or
sometimes.
we're scheming.
Scheming. Yeah, scheming. Uh-huh.
So then I kindly tell Scott that we don't have anything that has to be prepped for today. Which
No, you
means
just say,
we're winging
"Nope."
it. Right. And I said, by the way, just want to be really clear, we're doing double session today. Well, what is that? What ensues right there?
Shitstorm?
I was like, what? It was 8:15. It was 8:15 when that happened. And you're like, yeah, we start at 9 and we're doing a double session. And I am all sorts of not okay. Not okay. Haven't showered since Sunday. It's fine. Wearing the same pair of underwear. It's fine. I said, not a chance in hell because I have to drive 6 hours to get here.
I cannot, folks. It's not 6 hours. 29 minutes in rush hour.
And did I get here before you? Yes, I did.
Oh my God. I was trying to prove a point. I was trying to prove a point. Okay.
I even rushed. I told you, I even jumped in the shower and I used my peppermint soap on my vag and it hurt real bad.
Yeah, right. Was not a good
It was not good. I was just going so quick.
Burning ring of fire. Burn.
TMI.
Well,
not here. Not on the More Love podcast.
I was just going as fast as I could. And then I put some powder in my hair and put on my weave because nobody got no time to wash and dry.
That's right. Yeah.
Nobody got no time.
You got here and you said, I didn't know that we were doing a double session today. Now, folks, I want to be real clear. We had a meeting. It was last week, 2 weeks ago. And not only, a couple things happened during that meeting. So first, I took out a piece of paper and a pen that Scott had right next to him, and I wrote down physically on the piece of paper. Oh, thank you, Scott.
Yeah, and there's no March dates on this, just I want to be clear.
I can't.
It's all April's.
Because we already had March scheduled.
And we already had March scheduled.
And I would concur because I also only wrote down April's because March was already scheduled. I must have not put in my phone that we extended it.
I updated my bookings in the calendar, and I think it reverts because it's from the booking system, and I think it checks it and says, "Oh, that's not what we have," and it changed it.
That might have been what happened because he was
might have just made that up. I don't know if that's an actual functionality.
I love that you guys are not remembering if that happened. I can tell you exactly what happened.
But I didn't go in and put it as a
You did not do the first ones. Scott did the first ones.
Right.
Scott got through about one or two, and then he said it would be easier for my process if you just went in and added these.
And I said, great.
What happened here?
And I haven't done it.
Right.
They're on my calendar.
Happened here is Scott took over the first couple.
Right.
And he went into his system and he changed it, right? Which would then mean that you needed to go into your calendar and actually change it in your calendar.
I know. And I didn't.
Right. Didn't do it. Right. Who did though? I did. Right. So I'm the only one out of the three of us that knows that we're having a double session.
I know.
Today.
I know. Does it blow your mind that I plan events for a living?
All I can say is I thank God that nobody booked in there. I would have felt like a complete piece of crap.
Oh, I would have thrown my hands up. You would have felt it in Fairport. I would have been like, I cannot.
Let me just tell you.
It's like herding cats.
I have been underwater for the last 2 months, barely keeping my head above water. And I know this is not your problem because you're like my client, but I have so much work, which I'm thankful for. But at the same time, I've had problems with boundaries, and now my lack of boundaries has caused me so many problems because I'm over delivering on some podcasts, not this one, because we have a partnership with this one, but I have been over delivering on some podcasts to the point where I can't physically do the work. And so I'm having someone else help me with the work. And that person who's doing the work, because I'm so busy, it's hard for me to double check. And I'm also not a micromanager. So if I say, you got it, they say, I got it. And then they do it. And then I finally do check it and it's wrong. And I got to go back and fix it. And so I am like drowning. And I have one client who the whole thing has just been topsy-turvy from day one. It all started off wrong. The system was not followed for various reasons. I'm not entirely to blame, but it is my business. So of course I am ultimately to blame. And there's just a lot of stuff that wasn't done properly. And now it's coming back to bite me in the ass because I physically don't have time to do what I was just doing. I was just doing so I didn't have to worry about the quote unquote argument of, well, actually that's not included in what we do. So I just did it, and now I don't have time to do it. And now I'm like fighting deadlines, and I'm dying. I'm fucking dying.
It's interesting because that's what we were going to talk about today.
Sure is what we were going to talk about today. This is what a perfect lead.
Shall I lay down on my couch? And,
it's like your third mic on the show or something.
Time. It's time. And the best part is we sort of planned it, but we didn't.
Who is we? Planned you.
Me and you.
We talked the other day. You said post something in the Facebook group.
Okay, because I had to remind you to post something in the Facebook, even though that is your job to actually post something in the Facebook. And you were going to post 2 or 3 posts a day or a week in the Facebook, and then 3 weeks passed where there hasn't been anything posted, and then I had to remind you to post something in the Facebook. It's fine.
I don't even have a time to take a shower.
Empathy for Erin.
Rebecca, are we going to tell her?
Erin.
You want me to tell her, or are you going to tell her?
What?
Of our podcast?
Me and you?
Yeah, we've got a podcast.
Oh,
we do?
So good. Please don't invite me.
Not enough love.
It's called Complete Chaos with Rebecca and Scott.
It's called What the Fuck Did I Forget Today?
It's called Dumpster Fire. It's called My Life is Drowning with Rebecca and Scott. Oh, this is actually fun. Let me see how many more I can do. It's called Whole Room Burning.
Episode 1, Scott gets a weave.
I forgot that.
Scott gets a weave.
It's called, we have no scheduled podcast times because we can't get our shit together enough to figure out when that's going to happen.
I hate to, I actually want to cut all this out because now I've just realized that I'm making myself and Rockvox look really terrible.
No, it's actually really great. It's really great for the brand. It's, because at the end of the day, we
are who we are, Erin.
You can't backpedal.
We are who we are.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
The truth and the realness is what people connect with.
But I will say that to date, there hasn't been any times where I haven't delivered what I've promised to deliver.
Oh.
It's just been really, really difficult to my own detriment. And it's not the way it should be. This business should be, running more efficiently, and that's what I want to, get across.
Let's dive into this.
Goals.
Let's dive into this, my empathy crusaders. You are who you are. Let's dive into
Hold on.
this. Please tell me you're about to play some theme music.
No, I don't have theme music for that.
Oh.
But I wanted to get my empathy crusader.
Oh, good. Your back scratcher out.
Yeah,
Good.
That's my.
Okay.
This is what I call the club of empathy.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm gonna get my paws out.
Get your paws out.
I'm gonna get my paws out because I have a feeling.
You got your paws too,
Oh my God.
because you're both gonna need to pause it a couple times here.
Speaking of paws, Philip remember I told you about the grill? Mm-hmm. He returned it.
Already? I can't.
2 days.
Did you buy another one? The smoker?
Because Taylor didn't like the thighs.
Taylor didn't like the thighs, so he can't.
Join the club, Taylor. None of us like our thighs.
He couldn't handle it, so he returned the grill, and he wants to buy a regular propane gas grill with the fire or whatever.
Like the one you put out by the road that someone picked up already.
Yeah. So me and Taylor are petting the cat paws in her bed the other day, and Philip runs in and he's like, Taylor, I found a new grill. And she's like, okay. And he's like, it's got a Pit Boss. And she goes, Mom, that's the dumbest name I've ever heard. I go, what do you mean? She goes, why is he buying a grill called Pit Paws? I said, Pit Paws? She goes, that's what he just said. I said, Pit Boss. She heard paws.
Paws. Yeah. Well, because why wouldn't you hear paws?
I know. Yeah. So everything turns into that. And my new favorite thing is I will not get Sawyer breakfast unless she says paws.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. We're diving in here, folks. This is exactly what we're going to talk about today. You ready for this, Scott?
No.
You got your big boy pants on?
I'm not ready for it.
We're coming for you. No, I'm sure you guys aren't.
Can you give me some more
You're lucky
coffee?
I'm wearing pants.
Can you go get me some more coffee?
So what Scott's talking about is boundaries, lack of boundaries. Sounds like we haven't left any room for cream. I would recommend anyone who didn't hear the Room for Cream episode to go back and listen to that one. Overcommitting, and then putting more and taking more on yourself. And then that leading to the impact of the current people that you have around you that were like your faithfuls, right? Your full-timers. And how that can potentially impact yourself, your mental health, the people that you're supporting, right? All of those things. Am I hearing what we're talking about correctly?
Yes. 100%.
Did you even listen to any of that?
Yes.
Okay, what you got your piece of paper out?
I was going to write something down, but now I'm not.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see right now, Erin, but my Hawaiian empathy cat is over your left shoulder.
Oh, good.
Your left.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Its paws is
Look at
up.
those paws.
It's
Look at
paw
those
with its
paws.
paws up.
I just real quick, is everyone really clear what has happened in the first 10 minutes of this podcast right now, where I'm like, hey guys, we're going to talk about this empathy problem that we have. And both you and Scott have inadvertently, or whatever the opposite of that is, intentionally changed the topic at least 3 times. So if we were in a therapy session right now, I'd be like, what's uncomfortable about this, guys? What's uncomfortable about this conversation we're about to have? Don't answer that. It's rhetorical. Let me take a freaking sip of my drink. So this is fascinating, because what I'm hearing you say, Scott, is that you are basically this huge ball of anxiety because you every single day are coming in and are playing catch up constantly, specifically due to the fact that you've overcommitted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to talk about overcommitting.
Okay.
Why?
Why do we overcommit?
Do we overcommit?
As human beings or me and Scott specific?
You and Scott specifically, because whatever you're about to answer is going to be true for the other 3,500 listeners of this podcast.
Because in the moment, I'm super excited about it and want to do it.
Okay.
I can't turn away business. I'm not in any position to turn away business. And unfortunately, had I kept, there's so many things. But I can't turn away. I have a real trouble turning away business because I have a lot of debt to pay off and I'm trying to make this business work. April 1st is 6 years, by the way.
Oh!
So does that mean that every dollar is the same that comes into this business?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
$1 is $1.
A dollar is a dollar. Doesn't matter if that dollar comes with a whole lot of contingencies. It doesn't matter if that dollar comes with a whole lot of headaches. It doesn't matter if it's an easy dollar.
The dollars that have headaches did not appear that they were going to have headaches until after the dollar was given, and then the headaches appeared.
And
they're disguised.
Were you previously good about being able to identify dollars that had headaches associated with them?
Yes.
And what changed that we missed the potential headaches this time?
You know what? I can't really go into that in here on this because it's more of a personal thing. But I'll say there was already a relationship established for other things. And so because of that relationship and because of how I treat that person or whatever it is, I was more willing to give away more of the farm because of whatever I felt. Was it empathy or something that I was like, yeah, I want to do that for you. I want to help you do that.
And is there a degree of excitement associated with that too? An excitement about the work, an excitement about the relationship, an excitement about what you're going to be able to do together?
Yeah, to some extent, sure.
And Rebecca said the same thing. So a lot of what leads to your overcommitting is excitement.
It was more about excitement about another steady stream of revenue. Is really what it is. You know, I'm more excited about someone says, hey, I want to come and do a podcast and I want to do, 500 episodes or I want to do it for the next couple of years. Yeah, let's get on that. And then someone says, hey, I want to come in and do, 12 episodes. Yeah, that's great, but that's going to end.
And then you have to replace it.
And so right now I'm really focusing on trying to get that monthly recurring cash flow. And so when that, presents itself, I'm all over it. And unfortunately, my eagerness, is that a word? My desire to get this deal signed, kind of made me go outside of my process. And so I allowed things to happen instead of being, strict on, look, this is how I do it. I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, that's fine.
Where is the need to say yes to these things coming from?
My desire to be a pleaser, to please people and to not cause any friction at all.
Because if we create friction, what happens?
Things get uncomfortable. We're afraid people aren't going to like us. I don't know.
But what I really want to get at, and this, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Rebecca, because I think that you fall into this, but in a different way than Scott does. So I don't think the process of overcommitting and both through getting excited about an opportunity as well as wanting to have some flexibility in what it is that you're offering is unique in any way, shape, or form to anyone, whether that be you work for someone or you work for yourself. I think that that's a very normal reaction. What I'm curious about is what is driving those decisions, either in the moment or, well, I guess it would be in the moment, to say yes to those things and then later on feel resentful, regretful, disappointed, frustrated about the fact that you took on too much?
Well, for me is I'm just always live in the moment. I'm always present. It is very rare that I'm thinking about things that happened before, and I'm hardly ever thinking about the future. So because I'm so present and I get wrapped up in possibility and creativity and excitement, collaboration, all the things, it's a hell yes, unless it's a hell no. If there's the definitely hell no's, but again, it all depends if it aligns. And then when the nitty gritty or the rubber hits the road is when it's like, okay, how am I going to fill this in? I look at my calendar and I have 0 time. And I have to prioritize. And when I prioritize, certain things just don't make it. There's only so many hours in the day, So, I mean, that is my personality. And it's very difficult I can learn all the techniques. I can do all the things, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's just my human design, my human nature, all of that. And it's a practice.
I think Scott's super similar.
Oh, yeah.
I think Scott also is very present, is very in the moment, is very, I'm going to make this decision based on what the short-term goal is that I see in front of me right now. Right. But what I'm having a hard time understanding or want to dig into a little bit more is let's go to the impact that it has, right? So your failure to be able to follow through on things that you committed to feels terrible to you. Scott not producing high quality or something that he feels good about feels bad to him. Scott feeling like he's drowning because he has so many things on his plate leads to constant stress. You're similar in that you'll say often, I just don't have any time to do any of this. Oh my gosh, when am I going to fit this all in? Right? Why is it that those feelings that you're both having are not contributing to future decisions about overcommitting?
Because of the fact that I'm always in the moment. I'm not thinking about, oh, that didn't feel good when I said yes last time.
For me, they have actually. So I'm unfortunately experiencing a mistake that I made, 7 months ago. That it's catching up to me now. And I've learned from that. In quite recently, there's some stuff that I have not specifically not gone after or said that I can't do that. I've turned away work because I just can't do it. A couple of projects. Lots of people are trying to do partnerships with me to where we trade services. And I'm like, I just can't. I just can't. Anything that I'm doing has to be revenue based, unless it's for a nonprofit that I believe in. And there are few that I can do that with. You know what I mean? So, but I've started to make those decisions based on my present situation. Unfortunately, 7 months ago is when I should have made that decision.
What's interesting is that in the way that both of you process things and being so present in the moment is that this cycle is just so repetitious and will continue ad infinitum. And then unless, and I want to talk about the unless part, right? Because I really want to know if we push the fringes of what that looks like, what could potentially make that change.
I also had brought someone on to help me. And so that was helping things, but that person didn't work out. So that's another part. Like I took steps to try to fix this. Like I brought the extra help and it was going well for a little while. But then when that didn't work out, that kind of brought me back to the realization that, I was in trouble.
This cycle that gets created is I'm excited in the moment. I want to participate and be included. I know I can make this work because I'm a competent, capable human being. Oh shit, there's too much on my plate. I'm a failure. People are disappointed in me.
I don't go that far.
Or I've let someone down.
Yeah,
absolutely go there, Scott.
Yeah, the letting down. I don't in any way feel like a failure. I do get upset more with my previous decision making. Let's put it this way, I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be. That's
incredible.
Yeah.
Actually
go a couple of years ago and you'd be like, Jesus, what's wrong with you?
I can't wrap my mind around that. Honestly. Right. So we have this cycle and then we get to the point of letting people down. And then it's almost like, ooh, fun, shiny thing. Mm-hmm. I can do that. Mm-hmm. Right. And then we do the cycle over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. From an empathy perspective, it is so difficult for someone like myself who doesn't have that cycle. Mm-hmm. I'm present, but not constantly. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. To watch that play out mm-hmm. over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask a question about the unless. What if you were to go to the absolute outer fringes, what would it take for that cycle to stop? For you guys to identify in the very beginning, I don't have time to overcome it to any of this. Even if I have the time right now, I won't in the future. Like, what would stop that? What could stop that?
What I'm experiencing right now is stopping that. Because I'm already talking so the other day I was sitting with my wife Kelly and I was talking about the possibility of renting the office down the hall. It's coming available in like next month. And I was like,
the woman who gives the food.
What?
The woman who gives the food?
No.
Empty.
Down the hall.
Skeleton
down the
woman?
hall. No.
Oh. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, she has a skeleton in her.
Yeah.
Erin is so literal that she's literally going down the hall.
Right. I'm like, there's a bathroom here,
there's
a bathroom here, there's a skeleton lady. Okay.
The photographer.
There's two photographers, yeah.
Okay.
They're leaving that space and for a brief moment I considered, maybe I should expand because I have X amount of more podcasters who are talking to me about doing it. And I'm like, I could use a third studio. And then, that caused a lot of problems at home. And she was right. I was like, I am completely a fool to think about doing that because that kind of expansion would require a significant investment in staff and just it's a next level thing that I just can't do. It's not possible. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to entertain the thought. And it was gone.
So it's funny that you just said that because my instant reaction when Erin just posed her question was, I need a handler. I need someone.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. But you basically said the same. You basically just said that. You ran something by someone else that you love, trust, respect, and who could have that conversation. The other thing is I'm not going to have that conversation with someone I can't hear it from. Not interested. I don't want, you don't know, like, I need to be able to do it with someone who sees me and understands and can help me filter through the decision-making process.
Yeah.
Not someone who's like, well, your system's terrible. You blah, 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 whatever, because I'm just not going to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Or if you don't respect the person, or you're like, oh my God, you're over here living your life in dumpster town, right? Like, don't talk to me about what's going on over here.
But everybody's dumpster is different. Not everything in my life is a dumpster from my point of view, but from somebody who can't understand the choices, the decisions, the whatever, that feels very chaotic. It feels very, oh my God, it's too much, right? But it's not. Yeah, yes.
You want someone to stand outside of your dumpster and be like, let's look at your dumpster on fire for how normally blazing your dumpster's fired.
Correct. And we are going to pursue this, but we're not going to pursue this. And here's why. Because I'm going to help you see why that's going to impact the future. And I'm going to help you reframe and think about what happened in the past. That's where the handler comes in, right? They're not going to try to change me or change my goals, desires, or anything like that.
Yep.
They're not going to try to change my systems. They may offer advice and support. And like I said, all day long, people can do that all day long.
Oh, yeah. You develop your own damn systems and then you don't follow them.
Right.
I don't know how many times you've bought those freaking spreadsheet planners for $5 off of Etsy.
I have all these plans.
They're as adorable as can be.
All these plans. And then I just can't, I had this conversation with one of my coworkers the other day. I'm like, things live in my head and I just do things. It's just, it's very difficult for me because in my mind, it's like extra steps. Like, why am I going to do these extra things? But I understand why they need to happen. There's a communication thing. There's the thing. I think what it comes back to is the fact that I have shifted in my career 10 years ago, and I've really been a solo entrepreneur in a lot of ways and just ran my own show and ran my quote unquote own department. And at the end of the day, it all falls on me anyway. So when I shift and become part of a team where there's other components and it's not so siloed, that's where it can become overwhelming for me because I have my own processes and the way that I do things, but I'm not an effective communicator. So people don't necessarily know what's going on or where it's at or, whatever. So that's where that's the dumpster fire for me. It's the fact that I need to shift that mindset and be like, you just need to do these things.
From an empathy perspective, it is very difficult for me to see and feel the chaos that comes from both you and Scott in different ways. And to sit back and watch that unfold without feeling a great sense of wanting to help and fix it. What I think I fail to recognize sometimes is that the chaos in some ways is just what fuels the two of you. It is a very normal part of your processing. It's just that I'm uncomfortable with that processing because I don't want to hear from you, oh my God, I have 8 million things to do and I can't get to this and I can't get to that because in my mind, you're drowning. You can't come up for air. You're super stressed out. Your immune system's going to be compromised, right? And I immediately am like, what is it that I need to do to help that situation?
I think the other piece is our mindsets and the way that we work, you and I, are just different. So for me, it's always an ebb and flow. And yeah, we might have committed to this last week, but this came up. So now that stuff's off the table. Like we're not doing it. Where in your mind, it's always a to-do list and we're always going to do it.
Yes.
And because I'm an ineffective communicator, I need to be able to say to you, hey, here's what's going on. That can't happen anymore, or we need to redo it or whatever, because this just happened and I have to do this because of this, and this. So that's a major difference between us. Just like I process way faster than you.
Yes.
Once we can remember that about each other,
yes,
that is a significant difference too. Because keep in mind, I've been trained for the past 10 years. Just because we did it like that yesterday doesn't mean we're doing like that tomorrow. And everything can ebb and flow and shift. And your priority is one thing, nothing else matters.
Except if something needs to change, which I think I've gotten a little bit better about allowing some of that flexibility to take place. Often, this is true in my relationship with the three of us. This is true in my relationship with you. I'm sure if Scott and I had a bustling friendship outside of here, I'd feel exactly the same way. You and Scott are not the kind of people who circle back around to pick up that which you needed to push off.
So exactly. That's what I mean.
That pushes off the responsibility. Okay, I'll be flexible with you to cancel this meeting. But then I'm also on the hook 2 weeks from now for saying, we never had that meeting we were supposed to have and we have to come back around to it.
Absolutely. That's right? That's where I think my core is a communication issue or a
follow-up or something.
Something.
Right?
Because in my mind, okay, it's done. Moving on.
Right.
And just like what you said, Scott, when you're like, I'm not a micromanager. So when it's off, and I'm not checking back up on it. I'm really not good at that.
But it's off because you pushed it off.
Right.
But then you didn't follow up with making sure it got back on.
Right.
Right. And for a rule-bound person like myself,
yes,
I then get angry.
Yeah.
That's a really strong word to use for this, right?
Yeah.
About the fact that now that comes back on me.
Right.
Right. Same thing for you, Scott, that the empathy that I feel, the discomfort that I feel regularly with the level of angst that you have is an unreal amount of empathy. And it's one, because I care about you, but two, it's because I constantly feel like you're in this state of, again, chaos, discomfort. Oh my gosh, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? This thing isn't working the way it's supposed to. And the level of like discomfort that brings for me as an empath, because I don't want you to feel like that, or I don't want you to have to take that all on, is a lot. It's uncomfortable at times. And I also forget that I think that's a part of your normal everyday process. Like, maybe that's just who Scott is. If people are like, who's Scott when Scott's in a stressful situation? People are like, oh, his hands are up. He's talking to himself. He's throwing shit around his office. He's exasperated. He's dropping some F-bombs. He's like, come on, like that kind of response. That might just be the standard MO of who Scott is. But when you're around empaths like myself,
fucking terrible,
who soak all of that in,
gotta work on that.
And then I'm with both of you at the same time, and you might be like, I'm sorry, I'm late because of this, and this is going on. I still got to do this, right? And Scott's like, that freaking camera's not working. The level of, I don't know, like the overwhelm feeling that I get is, I don't think reasonable, normal, appropriate, because I want to not solve it, but I want to help resolve some of that.
You talk about a friendship outside of this podcast, and that's in my mind what we have.
Yeah.
So that's why you see that part of me, because other people never see that part of me. People that I'm not comfortable with, people that I haven't gone past that level of professionalism to level of friendship. They don't see that. You see that because I feel the three of us are friends, even though you're technically my clients and we're working together on this podcast, and it's a very interesting and unique situation. But there's only been one other time in the 6 years that I've worked here that I've had this podcast studio where I lost my shit in front of a client, and I was literally at wit's end because it happened twice to me. And that was when it was my old computer. It was really at the end of its life, and I was waiting for the new computer to come back in, and this woman had come in to do a Zoom recording, and everything failed, and so we had to reschedule, and I got everything working. Everything was fine. She came back in, and it failed again just for her podcast, and I was like, I was done. I literally was done. I was like, I can't fucking deal with this anymore. And that's what happened. And I apologized to her, and she was like, she told me that it wasn't cool, that I lost my shit, and she was right. And I felt terrible about it. And so I apologize that you see that part of me, because I've, loosened up that boundary, and I should work on that, because you shouldn't hear from your side, from the client side, you should not hear. Everything should be smooth sailing, and any chaos that's going on in this room should be my own chaos and should not be yours.
What I think is fascinating about this is the start of this podcast was, how do we change you two dipshits so that I can feel more comfortable, right? And what it's coming around to for me is, I need you two to have your shit together so I don't have to keep feeling what I'm feeling, and that's not a you problem.
Oh,
that's a me problem.
Oh.
I know.
Wow.
You heard it first, guys, on the podcast.
You're right. You're right.
Listen, but you all have some problems. I want to be real clear here. You're not off the. I'm not some of the things that you people do are insane. Absolutely insane. I've never been around that level of energy, right? But what I'm coming around to here is this thought that I need you to be different because I don't like to feel the way that I feel. I don't like to feel like I took the onus of taking care of whatever, and then you guys just get to whimsy screw it up, and and I just have to deal with it, right? I don't like the feeling of you guys have to change the schedule, and then I just have to go along with it if it works for me, right?
The way you say that implies that I'm just kind of not caring and just like, fuck it, I don't care, and if it comes back, blah blah blah.
Now that's how it comes across to someone like myself, who's a organized, detail-oriented, lacks forest through the trees thinking, right? I'm a very rule-bound Kirkland's Hobby Lobby person, right? And so it comes across, and I'm not saying that this is reality, but it comes across as lack of care about the relationship. It comes across as lack of, what is the word? Like,
respect?
Like, yeah, maybe respect, maybe you should just go along with it. It's not that big of a deal. Sorry I didn't get it in my calendar. Sorry.
I've never in my life felt that way about any kind of mistake that I've made.
What?
Well, you're kind of the opposite, Scott, because you will go so over the moon about being so apologetic about something that happened that the reverse happens for me, where now I feel bad that I brought something up because I don't want you to have to feel as bad as you feel about it. Right? So I want to caretake for you because you're so hard on yourself that I don't want that for you. And if I start to see that something I've said has impacted you in such a way, I'm going to reel that back in because I want to still caretake for you in that way. What we're really talking about is the essence of how you have relationships and care about people when you're trying to protect them and want them to be different so that you don't have to feel the feelings that you're having versus you controlling your own feelings and being aware that maybe we don't need to have people change to make ourselves feel better. Maybe I just need to say, I'm going to be there at 9:00 and I only have until 11:00. We'll get through what we can. And if this means that we can't get through 2 sessions today, then one of you will have to figure out when we're going to have another time. That feels weird to me, right? But that's what it means maybe to own my own interaction instead of constantly wanting to adjust to make sure that you guys are okay or you guys are taken care of. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah.
To me, it does. Yes.
But I really am coming around to this fact that the reason that I initially was like, how can we stop this from happening? How can we stop the cycle? It genuinely was coming from a place of, I don't want you to have to be in this place. But what I didn't start with was, do you guys like to be in this place? Do you like the chaos? Does the chaos motivate you? Does the chaos do something for you that is
I hate
really beneficial?
I live in a state of chaos. My house is so messy.
This is what happens to me. I'm clear that I want to go to Scott's house and clean his house, and I'm going to be there on a weekly basis.
I know.
I'm clear that I'm about to be Scott's handler, and I will be in control of his schedule.
Only because you've tried to do it to me, and it just
you're my third. You're my third, right? So I'm going to try and be Scott's handler, and I'm going to be like, you know what? Listen,
I've said too
it's
much
all coming through me. It's all coming through me. Send those people my way. You want a video package? Absolutely.
Do you remember?
$15,000.
Do you remember when I was looking for a virtual assistant?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah. And then we all thought Rebecca would be a great person to do that job. Holy hot damn.
Which I didn't understand at all. No offense, Rebecca, but I was like...
Because she's weird because sometimes she's a personal assistant for other people. She helps other people get their shit together.
It's true.
But then And again, you're number 3 on my list. So this is what's going to happen, right? Because you just want to fight me tooth and nail. And I'm going to be like, give me access to your calendar and I'm telling you what you're going to do when. And then you're still not going to do it. And then I'm going to hit you with the hard truth. And I'm going to be like, you would have had time on Monday at 10 o'clock to do this, but you chose not to do it.
No, because I had to do something else.
Right. Because you chose to go to Hobby Lobby.
No.
You now need to it's like, it's going to be so Legoland. It's going to be like, take this Lego and be like, sure, I see you're not doing this at 10 o'clock. Where are we moving that in your schedule? And you're going to be like, I don't like this.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be like, I know you don't like this.
Exactly. But that's the problem. But that's my point, is I can't just conform and mold to that concept.
I know.
Because it's just not going to work.
I know.
So it's got to be something else. I mean, I'm not
denying
that there's an issue. I am not in denial. I am clear. I am very clear.
But this is where the shame and guilt comes in for both of you. You both are now, after the course of this conversation, in a place of like, I should do it different. Oh my God. Erin's disappointed. Erin's upset. Erin didn't. Yeah, that's perfect music for this. Is there music?
No,
I'm hearing music.
That was a car.
Oh, I was hearing this.
My window in here is open because I was really, really hot.
It actually was really perfect.
Oh, you're having a hormonal reaction.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you're both now in shame and guilt mode because you're like, what a frickin' I'm an asshole. I can't do this shit right.
I'm wondering if there are any other Erins who just haven't been able to word that to me, haven't been able to express that to me. Am I working with 4 other Erins who feel the same way?
I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
And that
it's
now
possible,
I'm
but
now I'm
you know,
gonna freaking snowball.
No, you can't, because it's their responsibility to say something, right? It's on them to say something.
This is why we need handlers. This is why people have personal life coaches.
This is why I need a freaking part-time editor. I need someone who can take off this post-production from me. Who can do this.
Sounds like we are sending out a job.
This is also
announcement.
Yeah, right. This is also what happens. He doesn't need a part-time job. I need to come in. I need to review all of the different aspects of Scott's business. And then I need to determine what systems are going to work and how they need to be fixed. This is who I am. I am a fixer at the end of the day, but I'm a fixer of chaos because I don't want to be a part of the chaos.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the missing piece for me, is that my world runs so much more smoothly and my emotions, which are a live wire to begin with, are so much more intact when I can control all of the things that are around me to essentially know what I'm going to get at any time. So a lot of what I'm doing is just essentially trying to manage my own internal state through the control of things around me. And thank God it comes from a place of I genuinely care about people. I'm not, negatively manipulating people just so that they can do what I want them to do, right? Like I really do want to help. I really do want to be supportive, right? But the part for me that I think is interesting about this conversation is that I have never described it as something that's benefiting me at the end of the day. My desire for you to do things differently is also about me. Maybe primarily about me and my discomfort with the feelings associated with the chaos. But it's also about you because I think I want to help control the chaos for you. But you might not have as much of a problem with the chaos as I do. That chaos could be really beneficial in motivating creativity, accepting new opportunities, right?
I don't like chaos.
All of those things. Would you use a different word for it, Scott?
What, chaos? Use a different word?
Yeah.
For me, it's variety.
No.
I need variety. I cannot, if my calendar looks the same every day, I cannot. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Oh, my calendar doesn't look the same every day. And actually, I kind of wish it did.
Okay, so maybe you're much more structured than you realize.
When you came to me and said, can we just do Tuesdays or whatever? I was like, yes, that's great. Now I know you're always in that spot. Now I know, like I have somebody else who I really want them to be in one spot because no fault of theirs, they always seem to book right when I don't want them to book. Always.
Yeah.
Always. And it's not their fault. It's my fault for not, blocking off the time. And usually it's like, all right, I got to block that time off. I get busy and then I look and they've booked it.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right.
Like you said, come on.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, my wife hates when I do that.
Come on.
Hates it. So I got a fucking list I gotta tick off here.
But I think that's important because for me, the idea of I like the concept of having 10 a.m. on Mondays is when I do this. But reality is that's great. But 90% of the time, I'm going to move that podcast because something else came up and I got to do that.
That's right. Well, look at your schedule that you sent today.
Correct.
Your schedule, your schedule already had something booked at this time.
Correct.
And you were like, sorry, but I'm going to do the podcast during this time.
So then I'll move that
to you don't
later
even
in the day.
True to your own organizational methods.
Correct.
Right.
The other component is I'm working because I have such a variety of things in my life. I'm kowtowing to other people's schedules. Whom are much more busier than mine.
Right.
So for me to say no to a time block that they only have and then we can't meet for 3 weeks, that's a problem.
Right.
So when I have to constantly rearrange and reprioritize, and that's fine for me because it doesn't drive me crazy. But
the other people, it does.
Correct.
Yeah. And so the pushback of that does end up driving you crazy at some point because now you're quadruply booked on such and such a time because everything got backed up and deadlines are still looming.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or a training came up that's mandatory.
Right.
And I can't not do it.
Right.
I can't say to them I'm unavailable. Those are jobs. I can't not do that. So it's challenging. And then I travel. I travel a lot. I travel for my jobs. I travel a lot. So that's why we talked about, maybe we should do little biddies on the road. But,
right.
So it's just as much as I want to, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm very open or
to
whatever.
Me being your handler.
Oh yeah, you can be my handler all day long. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna last 30 seconds.
So true.
You're not gonna like it.
Scott's rehabable.
Yeah. By the way, we spent the entire Sunday and hoed out the attic.
No, you did not.
All reorganized.
You didn't invite me over. That's my jam.
All redone. We have a whole pile in the garage that's going to be donated.
For sale?
Nope, we're not selling it.
Why? Let me put it on the marketplace.
No, and Phil can't handle it in the garage.
Put it in my garage. I'll sell it in the marketplace.
All right, bring it over. Bring your truck over.
20%. I take 20% cut.
You can have the whole thing.
Wow! Don't threaten me with a good time. This is my side gig.
If I have to see your risers and shit online one more time, no one wants that shit.
Well, they do. I've already had 3 people inquire about it.
I can't.
All right, I'm going to end with this. One.
We're not going to end with my card?
I love you both. You both bring so much color to my life.
Yeah. Oh, I'm losing my headphones.
You really push me to be a better person. I really get what I call feeling exercises.
Oh, yeah.
You help me do some feeling exercises.
Emotional roller coasters?
Yeah. I would love to say truthfully that I accept you both for who you are. I don't think I'm there yet. So I'm going to sort of be really honest about that. I want to be really clear that that sometimes my way can come across as incredibly righteous and correct and definitive and the way that it needs to be. I happen to like that for myself, but I am very aware that you guys may not love that. And so that is what I want you to know. There should be, if there are feelings of shame and guilt, I don't want that for either of you.
I feel great.
We're in it together. Scott's not okay, but we're in this together. And
you probably should go back under Prozac.
bring me some.
And
I need to up my sertraline.
Yeah, right. It's true.
And that's it, folks.
That's it. You don't want to do your card?
No, we'll do it another time.
Okay.
Again, I can abandon ship. It's fine. I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy amazing?
Well, we're amazing. I don't know about all this empathy stuff.
That's fine. I accept you wherever you are.
Oh, God.
I love you.
I love you too.
And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.